In it again with another 52 travel size segment. This time we're packing the bags and we're headed to the voting polls. It's that time, man. It's that time. November's creeping up on us. November 5th, we'll know the results of all this mayhem. Left, right, there's always a side. You gotta pick a side. You have to choose a side. And it's that time. I think we're like I think 30 days out, not 32. Not like Kamala said 32. She couldn't get off 32. She was on Magic Johnson 32. She couldn't. She got stuck on 32. But yeah, man, it's that time of year, election time, and for me, it's election time when I know every time every 4 years, when it's time to reelect the president. Every 4 years, there it's my birthday's November 3rd, so my birthday's right around election time, so it's either November 5th or November 6th, something like that. It always falls out on election day. But yeah, I'm November 3rd. So as a kid, I've always been fascinated with the elections and selecting the president, all that good stuff, voting. I remember when I hit 18, I went to I think it was the post office. I think I went to the post office or the DMV or whatever, and I went to register to vote. I was excited to do that. I was excited to be a part of that, this election, to pick. To get to choose who you want to represent the U.S. there. It was it's cool. Like I said, it was a big part of my life. Politics has been a big part of my life. Uh, always, it always has been. And I probably said this a million times on this show. I grew up with a lot of talk radio. AM radio was my thing. I was the biggest nerd in middle school and high school because I listened to talk radio, the AM radio. I used to listen to that growing up in Austin. Uh, yeah, man, it took my day. I used to work a lot in the summers, so I had that in the background. Put the radio on, put a little transistor radio on, or a Walkman. Put that on and just lose myself in the all day of the schedule of the AM radio. Back then, I can't remember who was in the morning, but of course, 11 o'clock will roll around, and Chrissy Hines and the Pretenders song would come on. What was it called? Back to Ohio. And that theme song, Rush Limbaugh, everybody knows the theme song. You know it. You know the theme song. Rush Limbaugh would come 11 o'clock. I knew it was close to lunchtime. We'd usually take lunch about 11:30, 12 o'clock. Start the day about 8 a.m. So, summertime, hot ass summer, Texas summers, we'd be working construction, working in um, you know, a home where they had no AC in it. You're doing new construction, putting drywall up, painting, what have you. And yeah, Rush would pop on, man. And always the rural construction. And just as for, I don't know if it's still this way. This is how it was back when I was a kid and growing up and working in construction. This is how it worked. It was always the first guy or the first crew that showed up, they got to choose. If the carpenters showed up first, they put the music on. And usually with carpenters, when I was a kid growing up, carpenters were always country cats. They're always country dudes. They always had the country music on, Kick 101, whatever the channel was in Austin, Kick 101, Boot 101, whatever the channel was. So you had the carpenters show up early. You get first crew show up, gets the music. Like I said, carpenters usually country. Um, let's see, carpenters, and then electricians. Electricians are weird cats. They were always quiet. They never really chatted. They never were in they never hung out. They never talked. But electricians usually like whatever's on the radio pop, well, back then, 80s, so back then, 80s classic rock kind of thing they had on. And that was kind of the consensus. Everybody kind of did classic rock, 80s pop music, 80s pop music, that kind of shit. Everybody kind of agreed on it back then. Rap wasn't a big, my day was growing up in the 80s, 80 rap wasn't a big thing. So you didn't really get that too often, which is nobody was ever opposed to it. Like I said, whatever crew got there first, that's the ones who picked the music for the day. And for me, I was always the young guy on the job site. I was always the youngest kid. I was always the 13, 14, 15-year old on the job site. So I was you know working with my father or an uncle or something. We were working on the job site, And so I was with them. So I was always outnumbered. So I brought my own radio. I brought either my, like I said, my Walkman, or I had my little transistor radio I would take into the, you had your assigned area where you had to go paint. You're going to go paint these 2 rooms today. So get yourself a radio, get your supplies, and go paint. Anyway, I say all that to say this, Rush, I had Rush on. Rush comes on, 11 o'clock. My day's going smooth. It's going a good day, working, painting, puttying holes, spackling, what have you, all that good stuff. Sanding. I hated sanding. Anyway, uh, so Rush comes on again. I was fascinated with Rush. The time I was listening, about the time I was the peak for me was when Clinton was in office. When I was Bush had just left. Bush Senior had just gotten out of office. Clinton had just been elected. The whole thing where did he wear briefs or boxers? That whole thing on MTV, which was genius. Arsenio Hall, that whole thing, that was genius. Got to give it to him. That was smart. Smart marketing, and or however you want to put it, smart marketing. No social media back then, so that was the way to do it. Arsenio Hall was a uh, big catalyst for all for these new things happening, all these new things, the new things of pop culture happening. Was Arsenio Hall was a big thing. He had a lot of stars on there. He had Vanilla Ice. I remember he roasted Vanilla Ice. But anyway, so this is the year. This is the time, 92 ish, where um, Clinton won. He won, and I didn't have a problem. I didn't have a problem with him. He was a decent guy. He did what he was supposed to. Despite all his little extracurricular activities, which none of my damn business, none of my thing. Do your job in the office, and whatever. I don't care what you do in your personal life. But anyway, I thought he did a decent job. It wasn't bad. And it's funny now looking back at Clinton and Hillary back then. They had different positions, and I know people how they say. I know how people like to say that they evolve and they change. But back then they sounded very much like conservatives back then. About the border issues, things of that nature. They sounded different back then. And, times change. I get it. You got to flow with the times. You got to pander with the times. I get it. I get it all. But anyway, so Clinton was the guy. I listened to Rush hours on end. Rush was from 11 to 2. After 2 o'clock, I kind of got I had my fill of politics for the day, and I would change it to the music station or sports radio. And I would listen to Jim Rome. I was a big Jim Rome guy too, as well. So sometimes I switch it up, but for the most part, it was always politics, and I like to be informed. And I was the only kid in middle school and high school that knew what the hell was going on, what was going, what war was going on, what was happening, who was the president. Even back then, kids back then didn't really give a shit who the president was, and I did. I was a nerd. I cared. I knew who, you know. Who the Speaker of the House was back then. I knew who Newt Gingrich was, and people were like, "What the hell? What are you talking about?" And I sometimes I just couldn't relate to some of my peers, but I enjoyed it. I could, but if you stuck me in a room with a bunch of older people, I could get in the conversation at the age of 15 or 16. I could be in these conversations with these adults and discuss policy and the issues at hand at the time. And yeah, man. So politics was a huge part of my life. All that I'm just kind of going around. And like I said, on this show, I don't. This show is the purpose of it. As I always say, it's the purpose of nostalgia, just remembering my childhood. Talking about shows that I love, cartoons, blah blah, all that good stuff. The whole spiel. But as you get older, things get important to you, and then, like I said, politics as I got older got more important to me, and I just kind of keep it to the wayside, and I don't really bring it. I try not to bring it on this thing because it's the biggest thing I hate the most is when I'm watching something that I absolutely enjoy, like football season's here, baseball season, all that, and when I'm watching those things, I don't want to hear somebody's opinion on something because who gives a damn? Nobody cares about. At the end of the day, as everybody says, at the end of the day, nobody cares about what your opinion is. Nobody gives a shit. But this sake of this podcast, and you know, I just. I don't want to talk about it. I never really, I try to stay away from it because, again, nobody gives a shit about what you have to say about your opinion on politics and whatnot because everybody's different. But just kind of wanted to touch on it. There's a few things that I've watched the past couple of days and past week that struck a nerve and kind of not bugged me necessarily, but just was interesting. Um, a big one was not a big one, but one thing that blew me away was there's this gentleman, and I spoke about him before when I think when they had like when Trump and Biden had the first debate, and this gentleman kept coming across my social media, and and just reading things and different articles and stuff on X and whatnot, and Byron Donalds, black gentleman from Florida, uh, state representative from Florida down there. Uh, I think that this guy, I think he's going to be the next thing. I mean, I think he's, you know, you had that senator from, senator in 2008, come out of nowhere. Obama came out of nowhere, and he was magnificent speaker. I can't even speak. He was a great speaker. He spoke well, articulate. You got to give it to him. The acceptance speech he had, where he talked about the waves will come crashing, whatever the hell is. He could talk. This dude could. I got to give it to him. He could talk. He had a way with words. He was good at it. Brian Donald, this guy, this new guy, coming through, and he has that same flair, that same it factor. I see him, and I'm like, this guy's gonna be, I think he's gonna be something big at some point. I think he's gonna hit a nerve, because of I feel, you know, with conservatives, uh, they've kind of hit with Trump, they kind of hit, uh, a, a, let's see, they've hit a personality that can't be replaced. Trump, when he's done running or whatever, if he doesn't win, and he says he won't run again, but I think there's not going to be a bigger personality than that. So you got to find somebody that he gets away with his personality, his antics, and his bullshit and whatnot. And some people love it, like I said. And I don't, it's neither here nor there for me. I just want, all I want for myself is just to have a good economy, make some money, and make sure I'm not paying, $400 or $500 for groceries for the week. That's tough, man. It's tough on working class people. But uh, Trump has it. But I think the conservatives need something new and fresh. And it's not even a thing to, because people always say, well, the conservatives always try to find the token black guy. And no, it's not. It's not even about that, man. It's just this guy's real well spoken. He could be the next president. He could be the next president. He could be a president. I think he could be a governor of Florida down there. I think he could take DeSantis' spot. To start small and gain. But I think this guy, I think he's got the chops for it, man. He's got something special about him. When he speaks, people listen to him. He's at everything that goes down. Like at the last every debate or every big thing that's going down, he's there, man. And because with Trump, like I said, he's a show, and you're not gonna be able to top that personality. That's just a personality that's one of a kind. It's different. It's out there. So you got to come with something strong. And this guy's strong. He's got substance. He's got smarts. He's got facts. He came with facts. And the reason why I'm talking about him, and yes, politics, yes, but he went on to because I watch a ton of things. I watch things that are on the left, on the right, in the middle. I watch all kinds of programs because I don't want to be closed minded and be like, oh, my side's the best side, and you're not going to convince me that your side's better. No, I'm not that. I'm open, and I think that's the problem with us. I think that's the problem with America. We don't have that open dialogue. We can't sit down and have a conversation and say, well, let me hear you out and see what you got, and maybe we can kind of meet in the middle. We don't never meet in the middle. We hardly ever meet in the middle anymore, and we used to. Um, we used to meet. We used to be able to work together, and they can't now. They don't do so well with that. But the dialogue that Mr. Donald's brought out he was on the Breakfast Club, and I watched the Breakfast Club. I like it. I always make fun of him. Timothy Charlemagne the God. I like him. Charlemagne the God. He's funny. He's got his moments. Uh, he's very brash. He's very pushy, and that's fine. That's his thing. That's his shtick. He's good. He does well at it, and that whole show's interesting. I like it. I like when they have the rappers on. There's confrontation with the rappers, and people want to beat up Charlemagne the God. They want to beat him up, and he rubs people wrong. Some of the rappers he rubs wrong, like Birdman. I love the videos that I watch those. I can watch those endless videos where they talk shit to him, and it's just funny. Anyway, Brian Donald is on the Breakfast Club about a couple weeks back, and this is old. It's about 2 weeks old. And in podcast world, that's old news. But for me, I just wanted to. I've been toying with not talking about politics, but I wanted to because, like I said, I like this guy, and depending where you land, left or right, whatever, may turn you off, may turn you on. But I think his substance and what he's talking. He went on there and he roasted all of them on they were out of their element. Let's just say that the Breakfast Club was out of their element. They're not built for politics. They're entertainment. They're entertainment, but they are not cut out for that. They don't, they sometimes they don't know what they're talking about. And but I like them nonetheless. I like them for what they bring to the table. But he took them to task, and if you see you got to go see the clip, and I'll put a little clip so you can see with her. But I don't want to get too in depth in it because it's better for you to go see it yourself and make your own assessments there. But form your own opinion on the thing there. But he destroys them, man, and he had as the kids say, he had receipts. He brought receipts and he brought proof of what he was talking about the recession and all the whatnot, and or the inflation that's going on. Excuse me, the inflation and where it stemmed from and all that stuff. And he just went to town on him, man. But you know, I just like the guy. I guess he grew up in Brooklyn. His mom, that's the thing we don't talk about. Yeah, everybody, like I know Kamala comes on. She's like, she comes from a working class family and all that stuff. That's fine. Yeah, it's fine. But this guy did too. Let's acknowledge him too. And this guy, he comes, single mom, hardworking. She kind of instilled that into him and made him a strong man there. And he went to college. I think he went to Florida State University. Um, Graduated from there, and then again, now he's a state senator of Florida. He's a state senator, representative. Excuse me, a state representative there in Florida. And the guys, in 2016, he was elected to the Florida House of Representatives. Um, and, you know, this guy is something else, man. He just doesn't back down. And I like that, man. I like that. And it's cool to see. Uh, and see, he don't take no shit. He'll go in there. He'll go into the Lions Den with the Breakfast Club. He went in there, man. He went in there and he took them on. It was 3-1, and he took them on, man. He showed them what, man. I like the guy. I really, really like the guy, and I can't say that enough. And I still think big things are going to happen for this guy. I say it again 100 times. I think big things are going to happen for him, and I just hope he can change the landscape of everything, change the way things are on the conservative side. Uh, just give them something, a different option, something strong, something strong and different, something that has meaning, and he's got meaning, man. He's a tough, hardworking guy. Uh, working class kind of guy, and I think he's got something he can bring to the table. Yeah, this he might give him a run in 2028. 2028. He might give him a run for their money. I hope so. We need something. It's something different. It needs something fresh, something new, something you can, you know, sink your teeth in kind of thing. I don't know whether I'm not a wordsmith. Like I said, I'm not Obama with the words there. I'm just an idiot behind a little microphone and just like saying, just talk about things that make me feel good. Uh, but yeah, so that guy, keep an eye on him, man. Brian Donalds, keep an eye on him, man. He's got something going on there. There's some kind of a move, kind of momentum going on with him. So keep an eye on him. I like that guy. Anyway, but yeah, with politics, man. Like I said, I don't like to bring it up too much because, like I said, it's one thing that they always talked about. It's that age-old thing that my uncles and my again working construction, you talk about these guys, and they always say, when you're working and you're having a beer, don't ever bring that shit. Don't ever bring religion or politics. And I know that, and I respect that, and that's why I tried to bring it up ever because it's just that nobody cares. So, but it was interesting to see, the past week, Elon Musk going up there and bopping around like a moron. It was funny, but he started the trend. What was the trend? Dark MAGA. He started that trend there on hashtag kind of thing. Started blowing up there. But no, I like Elon Musk. He's an innovator, guy, smartest guy in the fucking world, man. He's a genius. And people will probably say, well, if he's the smartest guy, why is he hanging out with Trump? Yeah. I get it. Yeah, the jokes write themselves. But nevertheless, I think the guy is brilliant, and it's funny to see him take a stance too. It's just weird how people normally don't take stands and kind of him and Hall by it, but they don't really take a stand. He went all in, man. He's all in on Trump, man, and teach your own, go for it, man. It's all you. But to see him bounce around the stage was funny. That was a funny moment. I'm sure that there's probably a million memes already and gifs, whatever it is. But yeah, man. And then it's like I said, previous work I used to have, I used to be events coordinator before, and it was a great job. It was good times, and you met a lot of people. I met a lot of politicians, from the left, right, middle, libertarians. I met a lot of politicians, man, and even uh, in the AM world, listen to the AM radio, man. You meet a lot of folks, you network with a lot of people, and sometimes you meet people who have the same interests as you do, or the same politics as you do, or some don't, but you hit it off anyway because you're having a beer, you hit it off, and you have a conversation, and I think that, like I said, we need to do that more often. We need to have those conversations. But again, in that life, in that last career that I had doing that, in my career having doing that in that world of meeting different politicians and whatnot, I met two that really stuck, and we kind of stayed in contact, and you know, uh, people give them shit, and it's just you know it's just their values, man. It's just what they believe, and it's they're just regular folks, man, and just people. Oh, you like this, he's a conservative, he's a Republican, yeah, but he's just a dude, man. We're just having a beer, and he's just a dude, and I can ask him a question about this, and why is this so, and why do y'all do it this way, and why y'all make certain topics the forefront when we there's certain topics that aren't shouldn't be the forefront. There's other things that are more important, like I said. Um, Economy, making money, man, making sure the job force is strong. Those are things that are important to me. These are the things that are coming up. These, where do I begin? The gender stuff, abortion stuff, those things. I stay out of those things because for me, I just, I don't know. Some days I just don't give a shit what who you think you are, or I don't give a shit. Um, this is just my opinion. As far as abortion goes, a man shouldn't be involved in that conversation because you know, I don't have those parts down there. So that's none of my business. I should stay out of that conversation. That's you know, it's just woman. It's a woman's topic there, man. I should be left alone. And I don't get involved in that shit, man. I don't. It's I just don't. I just don't feel the need to. Like I said, I was always raised the old-fashioned way. So I was always raised that. Again, I'm a pig and sexist or whatever. But I'm the old-fashioned way, where the man goes to work, and the mom stays at home. I always like Leave It to Beaver, the Brady Bunch. Granted, Carol had Alice and shit, and Alice was banging fucking what's his name, the butcher, Sam the butcher. But I'm just saying. But my point is, like, I'm used to that. I was used to that. I grew up to that. Lucy and Ricky. Lucy was at home. Ricky went to work. He did Babaloo shit. He came home from work. His dogs were tired. He came in, and she fed him, and the whole night. And that's what I'm from. I'm from the old school. So I just like that. And I don't know. I Certain topics I leave them alone, man. Certain topics I just stay away from. It's some things that I don't. I'm not shouldn't be involved in. I just want to make sure the economy is good. We're making money, and there's plenty of work, and I can get to work, and the gas is not breaking the bank, and you know I can get what I want at the grocery store. If I want a big ass steak and things like that, I can actually be able to afford those things. And right now it's just things are tight, man, and things will get better. Things might change. Maybe not. Maybe things might stay the same. Who knows? We'll find out. November 5th, we'll find out. But yeah, man, it's just again, I can tell that it's that thing. Who You never know when you're growing up as a kid. You never think, oh, my parent. You look at your parents or your uncles or your family, and you're like, oh man, they're complaining about this, and they're you know times are changing. They got to get with the times. And now I'm at that point where I'm that person. It's like I'm that old person. I'm just like, man, I remember when things were better this way, or things are changing too fast for me, and things of that nature. And an example of that for me, I know I'm getting old, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with getting old. I don't mind now. It's like a bottle of fine wine. You get refined, man. You get them taste buds. You get them get them flavors going. Get those notes, those sousants of cheese or whatever, or a flutter of whatever. I'm thinking about Sideways. Sideways always I thought I was gonna hate Sideways, and I got into it, man. And it's hilarious, man. It's the way they break down the wines and the hints and the essences of this, and then strawberry this, and then the aromas of this. It was an interesting way. It was funny as shit too. I loved it too. I loved that. Paul Giamatti, he's funny. Thomas Hayden Church, man, those guys, they were great. They were a great combo in that movie. They're a great duo, man. I thought they should have been they were a hell of a duo. They're funny as shit, man. I don't know, man. It's just, again, it's the thing where I'm at that age, man, where I look at TV or I look at commercials, like, what the hell are we doing? Like, we don't leave nothing to the imagination anymore. I was looking at a commercial, I forget what it was called. I think it was like a deodorant for the body, and this woman comes on, a lady in her, 30s, 40s. You couldn't really tell, in that area age group. She comes on, and she's like, my body has smells, and I sometimes I gotta put a deodorant on in my thigh folds, and so he doesn't stink. And it's just like, what the hell are we talking about here, man? It's like, I remember when women were a mystery. Women were a mystery, and they were, they were. And I know that's the thing where I'm saying I'm getting old, because I know the climate is now, you got to be proud of this, and I get it, I get all that, but it's weird. Like, women are more, when they were more like a mystery. The women just smelled good. They were soft. They were delicate. And now they want to come on. They want to be brash. My folds stink. I stink. And at the end of the day, I smell like ass. I got to put this shit in my folds, and it's just like, dude, that's a crazy turnoff, man. It's just like, but I know times are changing. I'm getting left behind. And that's okay. I don't mind being left behind. I'd rather be left behind. It's just like the native culture. When you leave the old behind, you let the young keep going. You let the old stay behind, and die off. And I'm okay with that. Let me die off on the trail there, on the war trail there. I'm okay with that. Um, but yeah, it's things like that get me. And then there's another one too. And again, I'm gonna sound sexist and a pig and whatever you want to call me. And it doesn't matter. I'm old, man. So there was what was it, Tide commercial? I think it was a Tide commercial I was watching the other day, and it's the son. It looks like he's in college. The son's in college, and he calls his dad, and he's, that's where it got me. I was already like, oh, okay. I was already pissed off. The son calls his dad, and the dad answers, and he's like, "Dad, how do we, how do I do laundry?" And the dad walks him through the process of doing the laundry. Turn the water on, put the Tide in, marketing, put the Tide in, market, product placement thing that he's pouring it in there. And I look at that, and I was just like, I was like, hey, and again, the sexist part of me is like, hey, shouldn't, it's just like that joke, a kid's gonna get surgery on him, and it's not his dad. And you assume, well, it can't be the mom, because the mom can't be a surgeon. And that was me. I was living that moment when I was just like, well, why is he calling his dad about laundry? Shouldn't he be calling his mom about laundry? That's kind of her, that's her area of the household there. And that's on me. I'm call me a dick. But I'm just like, again, it's old fashioned. It's not that I just, that's the way I grew up. That's what um I just like it that way. I don't know. It's just weird, and it's just because I like to feel taken care of. I like to feel taken care of, just like I'm taking care of my wife. I'm out there working hard. Working two, three jobs, working hard, and to take care of her and my son, and in return, the payoff. And because I don't need nothing in life. If I buy a pair of sneakers every once in a while, that's cool. But my payoff to me is coming home to my wife, and dinner's ready, and it's like Archie Bunker. And again, Archie Bunker, he'd walk in, Edith, hauling ass to the kitchen table with his food and shit. And like, some people say that, well, oh, another thing was too, that brings me to this point too. Like, Kamala Harris was because I believe Sarah Huckabee Sanders said something about Kamala. I can't remember what it was. She told her, said some kind of insult to her, or just not an insult, but they were just riffing. And Kamala Harris was on a podcast, and instead of worrying about the folks that just got hit by the hurricane over there, she was on a podcast. And on the podcast, she was saying, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, it's a hell of a name. She was saying, that instead of, I forgot how she worded it, something about, instead of being humble, you're not, stop being, I can't remember the quote exactly. I'll put it on the screen here. But she was saying that you're not living in the 1950s anymore. Like, and that's okay. I mean, just because you don't want to live like that, there's some people still want to live like that. Some women still want to be women, and that's okay. And those, again, I say this time and time again. The strongest person in the household is the mom. She has to take care of the household. She has to take care of the. She has to make everybody's eating. She has to make sure everybody's taken care of. That's a mom's job. I would not want it. I would hate to. I would hate that job, because they are the backbone of the family. All mothers are the backbone of the families. The grandmothers are the backbone of the family. So to say, you know, you're sexist for it. No, I'm giving you. I'm saying that the women are the strongest people in the household. That household falls apart if there's not a strong woman in that household, and we need men need that, you know. And I know with you know, and and now things are so blurry now. Lines are so blurred now. It's weird. Yeah, it's a weird time, man. And I just can't figure it out. And it's just because again, I'm old, you know, and I'm being left behind, and that's all right. But I just like, you know, I like the way it used to be, the way it was, and you know, it's still that way. And I'm not saying it's not. Not every family is. Not everything is, you know, weird. It's just you know, I just see things like that. The commercials threw me off, and I was just like that commercial about the deodorant, the folds, and threw me off. I said because, like I said, when I see women, women were always just like I said, discreet about things, discreet about you know their feminine products and things like that. And I know because I you know now the commercial, you know, comedians used the hacky comedian would do the about pads, you know, maxi pads or whatever, and they used to use the blue liquid, and now it's red. And I asked my wife, I said, "Holy shit, it's red now." She said, "My wife's like, yeah, you know, because my wife's old fashioned just like me, and that's why we fell in love. We were both old fashioned." Um, she says, "Yeah, because you're not supposed to be embarrassed of your the menstruation. You're not supposed to be embarrassed of it. It's not supposed to be an embarrassment." I was like, "Oh, okay." You know, again, life's passing me by, and that's all right. I'm okay with that. Just weird shit, man. It's just things that catch my attention, or the weirdest shit that catch my that get in my they grind my gears, as Peter Griffin would say. Uh, I don't know, man. And just to kind of wrap all this up here, I won't going off on tangents, different directions, but my whole point was this is politics, you know, and everybody now has to state their opinion on politics, where they stand, where they're at, you know, why theirs is, you know, why their team is the best. And I'm not that, you know, before COVID, I was a you know very staunch, not necessarily a Republican, but a conservative. You know, I was behind that. I'm here to say that I was down with the grassroots, the people, you know, hate Ted Cruz. You know, now he's a running joke and everything. But back then, he was saying stuff that nobody was saying, and he was attacking the government the way you should be attacking them because the government works for us. We don't work. For, you know, they don't. I don't need them to hold my hand. I don't need government to hold my hand. And they were saying the right things. The government shouldn't be running us and telling us every little, you know, what to do every day in life. Um, you know, I remember the bit of time, you know, people were, you know, because Obama said you gotta, you know, you should leave your ACs at 78 degrees or whatever. I remember there was a big thing, and I remember it was all these funny things and all these funny catchy lines they had. And anyway, my point is, COVID came around, and then when COVID came around, it kind of changed my whole tune on you know, conservatives. You know, I kind of lost. I didn't lose my way, but I just I kind of lost. You know, you know, politicians are gonna say what they need to say to win, and I get all that bullshit. I know it's all, you know, it's like wrestling. It's all uh, after the fight's over, they're friends in the back, and I think it's the same way with politicians. After it's all over, the fighting is done, and all the grandstanding and the panderings, and they're all buddies in the background, you know, and they don't in behind the curtains there. Uh, but again, just to get there, the COVID when COVID happened, I was working in the industry, the bar industry. I was working in the bar industry, and you know, everybody knows during COVID that got shut down the bar industry because it wasn't necessity. It was a necessity, which I understand. Um, I get that. I understood that, and it was tough. And you know, I was, you know, hoping that you know these conservatives are fighting for us, and they're saying that they're for the small guy and the working class guy and the small business guy. You know, they're for that small business guy, and they're looking to fight for us. And okay, so chips were down, man. Chips was COVID. Chips were down. We needed to reopen. You know, we needed to make money. I needed to make a living. You know, that's how I made my living, and I needed it to open up. And then instead, you know, the guy that's representing me is up in Dallas, not even in his area. He's in Dallas getting a haircut to prove a point that he's going to go in and get a haircut somewhere, and that's bullshit. And but and then that's where things for me got touchy because it's like you're the things that you stood up for and that we voted you in for, which is talking about fighting for the working class, fighting for the small business guy. You're not doing that, man. You're doing it to get a camera, to get a moment on the camera where you're standing up for, you know, this little group just to get a haircut. You know, and that pissed me off because it's just like, hey, man, you know, there's tons of bars here, you know, bars and breweries that want to open up. Uh, and you won't come fight for us, but you're gonna go fight for something like that. But it was just it's a you know it's a opportunity to be on the camera to make it look good to pan again. Said the word I use, pandering. From that point on, I was kind of with everybody, left and right. I was kind of, they shit on all of us. They weren't looking to help us, and that's why I was I kind of got away from politics for a while. I kind of stayed away from it and got away from it, and but and then you had then it just got petty, man. It's just like DeSantis with the boots and shit like that. Just shit was just getting ridiculous, and we weren't fighting for the right things, man. We weren't fighting for economy and the people. We were fighting for stupid shit, drama shit, and it's just I don't know. We gave a, I don't know. Things got weird, and for me, I kind of backed off of it for a while, and you know, like I said, you don't believe in a politician, but you want them. You hope they're gonna give you some kind of what they're saying. They're selling you the shit that they're selling you. Give me at least a little percentage of that you're gonna the bullshit you're feeding me. Give me some of that and show me results. And that's when I say so that left a bad taste in my mouth, and you know, and so it was tough, man. But now that we're getting to the point where things are getting tight, man. Some of these we're out here, you know, I'm that guy in the middle that's working his ass off and is barely getting by, and we need a change, man. We need a little change. And granted, you know, people don't like that. They don't like that guy over there, man. They don't like that fellow over there that dances like this. They don't like that dance. They don't like him. But I need that. I need to get them groceries, man. I need to get them groceries. I need to get them groceries down again, man. I need to be able to. I want to be able to go out again. Things are tight right now. Working two jobs. Things you still can't really go out. You can't enjoy yourself. You can't. It's tough to get that date night in, but it's that's the what it is. Uh, but we'll see what happens. November 4th right around the corner. November 5th. Excuse me, November 5th right around the corner. And we'll see what happens, man. But like I said, I try to avoid politics at all costs, man. But I don't know, I just feel like talking about it. I feel like talking about something, that I don't know. I was just thinking about it. It's not a big deal, It's not. I'm not, blowing anybody's mind here, and that's not saying anything that nobody probably doesn't know already. But yeah, I'm that conservative that's looking for somebody to fucking step up, man, and do what they say, because even like Clinton, he was for the working class guy. JFK, he was all about that, man. JFK, I could get behind those guys, and they were Democrats, but it was a different kind of Democrat, and uh, it's not. And I always hear the thing. I always hear old Democrats say it's not the same Democrat Party no more. And for me too, I just feel like conservatives they're losing a step. I don't know what's going on, man. It just I know, and it sucks. There's only two options, and that's just the way it is. We have two options. That's it. And I don't know. That's enough. I get off the soapbox. It's probably the soapbox barely holding me up. My big ass on the soapbox is creaking and falling apart here. But I just wanted us to get it out. Just kind of chit chat, talk to the ones the listeners that we still have. If we after this, who knows how many maybe one's one a half a listener, maybe who knows. But I just just felt like saying something.